keep hearing this word reasonable, and it seems to end with us because once it gets into your realm, we're either going to spend $100,000 and then whatever afterwards on the civil suit, or we're going to jail. Jim, let him shoot you. At least your wife will get the insurance.
Yeah. Well, and you know, to that point, you know, the police don't want to arrest folks. You know, they're doing an investigation, and they go where it leads, and they don't want to arrest somebody that had to act, you know, justifiably. We don't want to prosecute somebody that had to act justifiably. I mean, we all got plenty to do, and you know what that situation is a tragedy, and so you know that's not the goal. Where, like I said earlier, the devil is in the details, and that's why it's not so simple.
I believe, I'm Fred Dayton. I believe that this is the sixth of these events that we've had. And tonight I haven't heard reference to the statement fight or flight reflex, but it's something that is seriously a challenge. Now, David, you have, on each of these occasions, pointed out the necessity of calling 911, calling your attorney, and shutting up. We've addressed everything except how you accomplish that. Now, when you're in the middle of fight for flight and you're coming down from an adrenaline dump that's beyond what any of us can imagine unless we've been there, how do I train myself to be in control enough so that I can wait for you or my legal counsel? I know if I were an officer of the law, I'd have a union representative who would assist. But I'm on my own. So how do I train myself to cope with fight or flight and keep my mouth shut, waiting for the assistance from legal counsel?
Well, that's very difficult. And yeah, man. You know, 911 should be at the top of your speed dial, and right under it, put whoever it is whose advice you trust, right under it, and then maybe you're limiting the number of things you need to remember. I remember when something shocks me and I'm completely galvanized with all the juices that my adrenal glands can produce, I have to hit one, and a minute later, I have to hit the second one. But your point's well taken. We can talk this subject to death, and I know the judge just recently had a frightful experience in her home, I think in broad daylight. And she related quite eloquently how it took her 3 hours to recover just from the adrenal rush. And your point's well taken, but I think, what the military and law enforcement tell us is training. And maybe a family or dwelling occupant training session, pizza party is a thing to do. I think going through routines and going through various scenarios certainly can't hurt.
Hello. I just want to say thank you guys, first of all, for doing this. I think it's a very important service to the community. And I don't know if many of the folks know, but I've recently had the privilege of being placed in a position where I get to make decisions on a daily basis that are supposed to help Douglas County be a better place to live. And all of you guys contribute to that every day, and I'm grateful. On the other side of that, though, every one of those decisions that I make pisses off a certain group of people. Inevitably. There's always a group of folks that disagree with something that we do as a living. And unfortunately, as a result of that, some of those folks make threats against us. And I think so it's important to address the issue. At what level does a threat become a reality? When someone has made a threat against a person that says, hey, I'm going to kill you, maybe they did not fake it in person, maybe it happened in a situation where it was a phone call or a message left on an answering machine. And I realize that that sort of thing happens, and I train myself to deal with those situations. But then you're in a place where you see that person in public, and they've made a threat against you now. Does that change the dynamic of the engagement between that person as if they may have never made a threat against you? When they start moving in your direction, when they start to your interpretation of whether or not they're acting aggressively. And I know that you guys have all said every single one of these is a case-by-case scenario, and it has to be evaluated independently. But I think it's important to realize that that's a part of this reality. So if you can address that, thank you.
I mean, I think that is, I think if describing is, somebody has threatened you, and then certain situation escalates. Clearly, the fact that there were threats before, that's going to be part of the analysis, part of the reason for this. That is, when you look at the entire situation. So yeah, the fact that somebody making threats, oral threats, or they were doing other things that were threatening, that certainly would be relevant.
I think that depending on the repetition and the seriousness, if it escalates, I think you consider a stalking complaint.
Let me just do one example. Driving down the road, car pulls up next to you, they put their finger pistol out the window and start shooting at you. Obviously there's no danger of being killed by a finger pistol, but most reasonable human beings would take that as a threat. You obviously don't have to re-engage that person, but just different levels of threats, and then you run into that person later on in some other public event, maybe if there's a crowd and the person's moving through the crowd towards you. Just situations like that. And I know that there's no answer for all of those, but I guess the question is this. There's no record of the threat. There's no recording of the threat. There's just you knowing that this person's made this threat. And then there's this aggressive action towards you where you may or may not have to react to it. And now you find yourself in a situation where you've used deadly force against this person, and you know of this threat, but nobody else does. Is it relevant or is it not relevant?
Well, I guess I would encourage everybody, regardless of whether or not whatever Commissioner Boyce is serving every one of us in this room. I would encourage whether you're a county commissioner or a circuit court judge or retired and minding your own business. If somebody's making threats, then you need to go on. Law enforcement needs to know about that. And the other thing is too that if somebody's doing that and you let the sheriff's office know about it, they're gonna circle around and get after them. And just the act of the sheriff knocking on your door and saying hello, what's up with this? That sometimes can be sufficient to get some attention to children.
You know what, I'm trying to put myself in that position, and I'm thinking, okay, so I know this guy has either verbally threatened to harm me or made actions at some point, like he's gonna shoot me. And then I see him at some point a week or two down the road, and he's coming towards me in a public place, and he's got his hand in his pocket, and I consider him a threat. But if something doesn't occur that makes me feel that there's an imminent threat against my life, I'm not ready to take him out. I'm certainly going to be on high alert. And if now the hand comes out and I see the butt of a gun, hopefully it doesn't make it the rest of the way out of the pocket. But there better be an imminent threat before I feel like I'm comfortable in taking action.
that I've got is everybody's, a lot of people here talk about, mace, black hair, pepper spray, taser guns, and things like this. This young gentleman over here referred to lawsuits after the fact. And then you're gonna, you shoot somebody, you're gonna get lawsuit after the fact. How about if you mace them or taser them?
Sure.
Same
Spit on them, you get sued. There is no end to the creativity of some lawyers in searching out new ways to try to separate people from their money.
But the damages.
Are we looking at a beer, sir?
The damages, though, that you could face if found liable for some sort of a tort claim would be a heck of a lot less because you pepper sprayed them versus putting a bullet through them or some innocent bystander behind them. That's all.
Second point, how about if you use the mace on somebody's dogs or shoot them?
Sue you for
We
that.
have a saying in law enforcement, mess with a guy's wife or his kids, and it'll upset me. Mess with my dog and I'll kill you.
Well, I've had a dog that was, he was 100% dog. He would attack sometime with other dogs. And there was just nothing to do except and our
People are really funny about their pets.
hospital beach.
I just wanted to say, as a gun owner and a field weapons holder, and as a homeowner, and more importantly, as a husband and father, people are more important than things.
People are what?
More important than things. And the reason I have guns to protect myself, despite all those things that you say, the imminent threat we were talking about is where it's at, and it comes all the way down to the bottom line that it's either my life or his. And at that point, I have to make the decision. I'm going to protect my life and my family's first. And it's good to hear all the things that get all the way down to that point, but the bottom line is that's the point that when I feel myself threatened or my family, my loved ones threatened, the rest doesn't matter because I'm going to be dead or he's going to be dead. And whatever comes after that doesn't matter, but the bottom line is the bottom line. And that's the reason why I have a gun and choose to protect myself and my family. So I just want to say that. Good point.
I want to say thank you. My life has changed tonight. I had a lot of that CSI moment thought process. Thought I knew what I could do. I mean, when I leave here, everything that I thought I knew, I have to relearn, I guess. And just thank you guys. This was awesome. I think